Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis. I'm an angel investor in 150 companies, as you probably know. You've heard of some of them, Thumbtack, Uber, gosh, a ton of companies. And one of the things I do, started doing in the last year, is I run an incubator. It's called the LAUNCH Incubator. What's an incubator? Well, an incubator is a long-standing tradition in the technology industry where somebody who's got a decent amount of experience and a checkbook, like myself, to write checks to fund startups will host a program. Typically it's 12 weeks. In our case, it's 12 weeks. And over 12 weeks, in our case, 7 startups come week after week. They show their product, and they get feedback from a group of professionals, luminaries, CEOs, and other investors in the industry. And there's been many of these. You may have heard of Y Combinator or 500 Startups, Techstars, and previously Idea Lab back in the 90s, and it's continued on. The reason these work very well is because there's a lot of secrets to building a startup successfully, and there's a lot of mistakes, and a lot of them are common. And you can eliminate a lot of mistakes by meeting with people who've done it before. I call them mentors, but they're just people who have done it before. No big deal. And there's a lot of specific tactical skills that you can learn about product design, growth, customer support, hiring people, raising money. There really is a science to building startups today. And I'm one of the guys who's built a lot of startups out there. I'm considered probably arguably one of the top 5 angel investors in the world. Some people might say top 10. Some people might say number 1. Anyway, I've been doing angel investing for 5 years. I got a really good track record, and I really care, and I enjoy doing it. I love working with startups. So I started this launch incubator. I want to tell you a little bit about it today so that you might, at some point, apply to it. Now, what do you need to be successful in an incubator? Well, in our incubator, we're looking for people who have built their minimal viable product. They've built their 1.0, their basic product, and they've released it to the world or some small group of beta users, and they've gotten some initial feedback. And we also want you to have developers and designers working on the product with you. And hopefully you yourself are either a designer, a developer, or a product manager. Basically, you want to be able to build a product week after week and make it better. If you come to the incubator and you don't have a product and it's not yet built, there's other places where you can go to do that. And if you're trying to come up with an idea or do a business plan, that's not what an incubator is about. An incubator is, hey, I have this little thing, it's really promising, let's make it bigger, or I have this thing that's medium size, I want it to really scale. And that's what we try to do at the Launch Incubator. Now, I wanted to talk to you about 2 other things. Our alumni, why they're awesome, and we have 13 alumni so far, and some of the things they've said about us. And I also want to talk about why our incubator is really, really, I think, the best one in the world. I studied all the existing incubators out there, and I said to myself, Jason, you've invested in a bunch of people from Y Combinator or Techstars or 500 Startups. These are all great programs. There's nothing wrong with these programs. I just think we've built a program that's just a little bit better than each of those. Some people might dispute it, but I think we're in the running for being the best incubator in the world. If not, maybe tied with some of those programs. And the number one reason, I think, is that we have a small class size. This is absolutely critical. We only accept 7 people. The first class, we had 150 applications. The second class, 350. We're about to accept our third class. We're 15 days out from getting all the applications in. We already have 300. So we'll hit easily 500, 600, 700 applications for 7 slots. In other words, we're going to accept 1.5% of the companies who apply. This is awesome for us and for the companies that do get accepted because they're all really, really the top of their class. In a way, it's a little bit of a trick. I mean, it's sort of like being Harvard. If you only accept the smartest kids coming out of high school, the chances of them coming out of your college, dumb is low, right? So we accept the best and brightest, and then we really help them grow. And that is one of the keys to our success, I think, is keeping the small class size. A lot of the other incubators have 100. I think Y Combinator does 100 each session. I think Techstars maybe does a couple dozen. I'm not sure exactly the number. And I think 500 Startups does a lot, like a couple of dozen. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a really good idea for those incubators because, listen, they're getting more bets placed and they'll make more money as investors. But I think it's a mistake because you lose the intimacy. And in our incubator, we do something very special that nobody else does. Every week, every startup gets up and presents their idea to basically 2, 3, 4 people who are investors or luminaries in the industry, former CEOs, et cetera, just really smart people. What that does is, after 12 weeks, you've presented your company 12 times to, let's call it 30, 40 of the most important people in the industry. Guess what? They're going to give you candid feedback in this very closed environment. And that's what I'm going for. I instruct everybody, give candid feedback now before these people launch at the end of the program on what's called a demo day. But that brings me to my second point. A lot of the incubators out there, they force people to not raise money, or they advise them to not raise money and stay focused on their product till the demo day. And then on demo day, they try to get all the investors to really quickly rush in and invest without doing much due diligence. And there's a lot of pressure, and oh my God, you're going to miss this deal. And people don't really think about the valuation. They don't do due diligence. They don't check the numbers. And what winds up happening is, I think people make a lot of mistakes. What I do is the opposite. I say, I'm going to bring my friends who are the most elite investors in the world, and I'm going to let them front run the market. This would be illegal in the stock market, but hey, we're doing angel investing. This isn't like publicly traded companies. There's nobody getting harmed by me letting my friends invest first. And in fact, the startups are being helped because I say, let me bring my world-class investor friends in, not the nobody investors who are dentists, or not that there's anything wrong being a dentist, but I'm not saying like let any investor into these companies. I'm saying let's have the best investors invested in the companies in my incubator, the Launch Incubator, because that's in the best interest of the startups. And if the startups have great investors, hey, guess what? It's in the best interest of my incubator. It's a win-win-win. My investor friends get early access, which typically means a lower valuation or a more reasonable valuation, and they get first bite of the apple. If the round is oversubscribed, they got in early. That makes the investor feel good. My startups get money faster from the best people. That's great for them. And for me, if those two constituents are happy and they help the companies become more successful, ultimately I will be more successful. And so that is the number 2 reason, is that early access to the best investors in the world. Now, the third and fourth reason I've talked about a little bit already, which is number 3, we focus on tactical advice in the incubator. I do This Week in Startups, a podcast where I talk to people generally about life, and I talk to the people generally about startup life. That's 104 episodes a year I do, and I've done close to 600 of these episodes. If you want to get that, that's already out there for free. And that's what Y Combinator does every week. They have some famous person in, they do a fireside chat. That's great. I do that already for free. That's This Week in Startups. That doesn't help the founder. What helps the founder, I mean, it does, but it doesn't help them directly. What I'm able to do that Y Combinator and other places aren't able to do is I'm able to let the startups interact with each speaker and pitch them, which you can't do if you have 100 people, and then teach them tactical stuff. Here's how to grow your company. Here's how to hire people and get the best talent. Here's how to get investors. Here's how to do sales. Here's how to do street teams. All of that blocking and tackling, we're very tactical. And the reason we're able to be tactical is because we insist that people have their product finished coming in. We don't want people writing business plans at our incubator. We want people to have their product finished and be refining it and A/B testing it and making the product better and getting that product market fit and that growth, that early first 100 customers, 500 customers, to get product feedback so that by the time you graduate, you really understand what your product is, who your customers are, and how to grow it. And investors understand that as well, which is super important. And of course, the fifth reason I think we're the best incubator in the world, and I'm not saying that to be cocky or to be conceited. I'm saying that because I know that entrepreneurs have a choice in incubators. You have a choice. Just like when you get on an airline, they give you that corny message. You have a choice in airlines. We appreciate you. And they're kind of phoning it in. I'm not phoning it in here. I'm sincerely looking you in the eye and saying, come to my incubator because it's better, and I can back it up. And you may say, hey, this is a little bit of showmanship, Jason. Hey, you're being a little aggressive. Well, listen, I want to win. And I want to win by having the best companies. And I want to look you in the eye and convince the best companies that, point number 5, you're going to get relentless support from me post-incubator. How am I going to relentlessly support you post-incubator? Well, I have the largest startup conference in the world called the Launch Festival every March. 15,000 people are at it. All my startups get to get free tables. They get free VIP tickets. They get to come to everything. Some of them present on stage. As in fact, when all these companies graduate from the Launch Incubator, they get on stage and they launch in front of 2,500 people. That's a big start for a company. As a matter of fact, 2,500 people doing it. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 times bigger. And we have 15,000 people at the event. It's bigger than any other event out there by a wide margin. I have This Week in Startups. It's the largest startup podcast in the world. It's got 100,000 people who watch every episode. You'll be on that if you're one of my incubator companies. I also have over 1 million followers of my blog and my Twitter and my Facebook and all that stuff. Great. I'm not showing off again. I am a relentless supporter of startups, and I want to let you know that when you need to promote your startup to get those first 100 customers, I'm going to be there with you. With Uber, when it started, I would take a picture of myself. I would blog it. Hey, I'm in an Uber. What's an Uber? Let me explain to you what that is. You can go search the @Jason Twitter handle on Twitter, and you can see me talking about Uber or Thumbtack or Bento or GoWalla or any company that I'm involved with, Backupify, Chartbeat. I'm going to be relentless in supporting them. That's my job as an angel investor. And I've set a goal for myself. I want to be the best angel investor ever, period, hands down. That's my goal. I set goals for myself. And I would like to have the #1 incubator in the world. Guess what? I think I have the #1 or tied for #1 with Y Combinator incubator in the world today already after just 2 classes. And that's why I'm making this video, is to sort of let you know that I'm going to be relentlessly supportive of you post-event. In fact, we just had another conference called Scale. We had 58 speakers there. Of the 58 speakers, 20 of them were my portfolio companies or people who work at my portfolio companies explaining to the other founders how to grow your startup. So I help my companies become thought leaders, and they help other startups grow. And boy, that just spreads all the love, and it increases the number of people applying to my incubator, which then lets me pick the best. We want to be the best of the best of the best, and we want the people who maybe aren't that good to go to my competing incubators, because we are competing. And people in this valley, they want to pretend like there's not competition going on. It is a competition. I've got to get the people who are applying to Y Combinator, Techstars, and 500 startups to make a decision. And I need them to, the first part of the decision is also to apply and meet me and meet my team. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for a chance to, if somebody's, accepted to Y Combinator or 500 startups, for them at least to apply and to at least get accepted, and at least I have a shot of maybe getting them into my incubator and investing in them. All right, enough. I don't have to tell you all this. I can just look and I can read to you what people are saying. Now, Requested was one of the great companies in our incubator, great startup. And this is a quote from the founder, Sonny, who I love. Requested changed by 50% and our design UX changed by 95%, all in less than 90 days. Anyone in a startup out there, the modifications that we did through this program will take you 6 to 9 months. In other words, they got all of the questions they had about their really cool startup. They figured it out quicker thanks to the incubator. And this was awesome. Here's Requested, by the way. I'll pull it up on my screen there, and you can see the team from Requested. I love their product. You can basically request a table. You can get discounts on a table at a restaurant. They're currently in Sacramento. And then Brian Alvey, who's a good friend of mine, a former partner of mine, launched Recurrency, and he said he says only apply to the Launch Incubator if you want to get Jedi level presentation training. Get a yes from every angel investor you talk to, and that's really a sentence I'm going to repeat. Get a yes from every angel investor you talk to. Here's the thing. People know that I'm a good angel investor. When I invest in something and I put them through the incubator, they say, oh, Jason gets hundreds of people to apply. He only accepts 1%. I've had angels blindly, or semi-blindly, basically I've had angels say, I'll invest in every single company that comes out of your incubator. And I've had people do it. I don't encourage people to do that. I would like them to get to know each company, and I insist they do. But I literally have had people invest in 6 of 7, 5 of 6, 4 of 6 startups coming out of a class. And Brian Alvey is pointing to that. He had a great time raising money. And he adds, attract a world-class team, build a world-class product, and get expert feedback. Thank you, Brian Alvey from Recurrency, which is a reoccurring crowdfunding site. Here, this is May from Lead IQ, which is a really cool SaaS product, software as a service. And she says, we pitched to different judges every week, VCs, angel investors, successful founders, and got feedback. It forced us to iterate fast. And that's a key. You want to move fast in a startup. You have competition out there. Every week we improved the product or did more market research to improve our presentation. By week 12, our product and pitches were 10 times better. And that's really what you have to look at. When you are deciding to go to an incubator or not, I really encourage you to look at who your partner at that incubator is going to be, compare them to me, and say, do you think that that partner is more intelligent, successful, and helpful to founders than the other partner. There might be somebody out there who's more successful. Certainly there's a lot of people more successful than me. Don't know if there's anybody who's more, supportive of founders. I think I probably got that one on lockdown. And yeah, listen, there's people much smarter than me. I'm a hustler. So I got a lot of smart people working for me who are much smarter than I am. But I'm going to win the relentless hustle of supporting founders. So that's what Lead IQ said. All right, here's James from Rapify. Jason's approach to building a great product starts at the pitch, and the results we were able to show for it became evident almost immediately. The network we were able to build and the relationships we fostered will last a lifetime. Just good feedback from James. Thank you for writing that. If you're lucky enough to get the opportunity to participate in JC's incubator, it's really competitive, you should jump at it. There is no other accelerator that compares. That's from Jackie Boyland from Red Tricycle. Here's Jordan from Huckle. I love this app. And he's the guy who helped Taylor Swift grow from like 1 million to 50 million Facebook followers. And that's one of the reasons I picked him for the incubator. You will be put through the firing range of some of the heaviest hitters in the industry. That's true. I know a lot of people. People that have grown companies to millions of active users will be giving you unabated feedback on your product. That's just a great line. Juan Carlos Perez from Crux says, it was an incredible 3 months that gave us insider knowledge and resources that can't be found anywhere else. Throughout the experience, we were taught new skills that we were able to implement almost immediately into the company. And, I'm reading you these things, and I know you're probably thinking, like, oh my God, did you pay people to do that? No. After they graduated, I just sent an email to the founders and said, hey, it would be nice if you wrote a blog post about the experience. Because they always say, how can I help you, Jason? You've been so helpful. I said, just write a blog post so that I'll retweet it for you. People will learn about my incubator. People will learn about your company. And that's good for everybody. And so I just pulled a quote from each of them. And you know what? The quotes make me, I'm not going to get all emotional here, but it does make me very proud of my team and the hard work we put into this. Launch is taking a big risk by accepting so few companies, less chance of unicorns. And in doing so, they are going to invest so much more time and effort into making you successful. Each outcome matters that much more. And that's from David Temple of Scout. David gets it. He knows that if I accepted 70 people instead of 7, it would be better for me. But by accepting 7, it's better for David and Scout. And Scout is a wonderful travel app where you should download this Scout Travel right now in the App Store on iOS. And you basically get dumped into a chat room with an expert from San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, whatever. And you say, hey, I want to do this with my kids today, or I want to go out with my girlfriends tonight, whatever it is. My guys want to go out and play cards, and then da-da-da. And they will go book everything for you. It's a virtual concierge, and it's magical. I love Scout. All right, here we go. Another quote, and I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. I loved my 12 weeks in the Launch Incubator so much so that I did not want it to end. Jason and his amazing team understand what works for getting your product all glammed up and investor ready. He gives you the truth. No egomaniac baloney, just straight talk on how to make your company better. And that's from Jill from Rush Ticks. I call her the Comet because she is so fast and she runs hot. And she has made Rush Ticks, which is like the Netflix for live events. Basically, you pay $10 a month to get 2 tickets every month for free in your city. It is awesome. She's got super fans of that product. And, the word I want to just emphasize there that Jill says is the truth. Straight talk. I'm a candid guy. I'm from Brooklyn. My dad was a bartender. My mom, a nurse. I did not grow up with means. I had to fight my way into the technology industry. Everything I have in this life, I had to bust my ass for. And I became successful because I was too stubborn to give up. And I got rewarded because I was blunt and candid with people. I just said what I thought was the truth. And I've stuck to my guns with that. You hear me saying that now. I'm just telling you the truth. I have the best incubator. I'm sure of it. I want you to come to it. Do a Google search, Launch Incubator, follow me on Twitter, or Jason. Come to my incubator, apply, and if you get in, we might change the world together. And you know what? I've got 150 investments, and some of them are working out pretty darn well. I have the goods. I can prove it. And I want you to join me part of it. I'm going to read you one more. You will come out of the incubator with a vastly improved product, a crystal clear pitch, feedback and advice from the top minds in Silicon Valley, and an incredible group of peers from Jason DeMont at Bento. And Bento is a wonderful product. It's on-demand food. You basically order a main dish and 4 sides on your phone. You get it in 10, 15 minutes, and it costs $12, and you're going to love it. The food's great. And it's basically, you'll get it delivered in 1/3, 1/5, 1/7 the amount of time it takes for a normal delivery service to bring you food, and they're going to do it cheaper, better, faster, right? That's the whole idea here in Silicon Valley. But I want to point out something that Jason DeMott says here, which is incredible group of peers. Incredible group of peers is probably, I don't want to say it's the number one reason to come to the incubator, but I will say it is one of the most frequently mentioned benefits, which is when you only accept 7 people, when you only accept 1.5% of the applicants, the people who do get in and who do work together and who do fight really hard to make something meaningful in this world, and they bust their butts to do it together, they've gone through a really intense experience, and they get so bonded. And for me, it's very magical that these companies create lifetime bonds with fellow founders, and they help each other. In some ways, it's like being a parent and watching your kids grow up, but they all take care of each other. For my father, I have 2 brothers, and he drilled into us, you have to take care of each other. You have to take care of each other. And from, if one of us got bullied in high school, the other 2 were there for them. If one of us needed financial help when we were young adults, the other one would be there for them. If one of us needed help with a life crisis, we just were always there for each other. And watching my startups come out of this incubator, session after session, class after class, and they're so gosh darn relentlessly supportive of each other, it really touches my heart. It makes it really worth it for me. I'll be honest. And here's the thing, and you need to know this. I don't need to run the incubator. I don't need to work with these startups and bust my ass. People ask me, why do you do it? I'll tell you why I do it. Maybe I'm going to sound a little delusional here, but you know what? I can't help the fact that I'm enthusiastic. I love it. I love working with startups. I named my company Launch. I named my incubator Launch Incubator. I love the moment when somebody launches that new product in the world and just has that amazing experience of seeing their vision realized. Most companies will fail. So some might argue that that work and that vision and that execution and that launch is for naught. I would be one of the people who disagrees with that pessimism, because although 7 of 10, 8 of 10 startups fail, if you do it 3 or 4 times, you're guaranteed, in my mind, and I'm not perfect at math, but I think 3 or 4 times at bat, you're going to make contact with the ball, and you'll be one of the 20 or 30% of startups that actually does succeed. And that's why I love this. I love investing in founders for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th time, and I've done that. I have one founder I've invested with 3 times, and a number that I've invested with twice, and I will certainly invest with some of them 4 or 5 times. I love what I do. I love working with startups, and I made this video to just look you in the eye and let you hear it from me. Let you hear it directly from Jason Calacanis, who created the Launch Incubator, why you should come. You can email me. You can ask me questions, and I hope that you build an MVP, you build a product, and you apply. And if you apply, we're going to take your application seriously. There's hundreds of them, so we're not going to give you a whole big detailed report of why you didn't get in. But we're going to meet with 20% of the applicants in person. And they're going to meet with the founders who went through the incubator already. So I rely on the founders of the incubator to meet with the next potential class. So if we wind up having 500 applicants, which we should hit easily, probably could be 700, 800. If we hit 500, we're going to have 100 of them come to the office. And we're going to have those 100 meet with, for 20 minutes, 2 of the other founders who went through. So you can ask them questions about their experience. I read your quotes, but you'll be able to look them in the eyes and ask them questions. And you'll be able to ask me questions. Again, I'm Jason Calacanis. I run the Launch Incubator. Thank you for your time. I hope you consider applying to my incubator. Please apply to my incubator. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm @Jason. You can follow our company. We're @Launch. Thank you for your time.